everybody, and welcome to the Women's Soccer Show. I'm Sara.
And I'm Allie.
Welcome back, Allie, who had quite the bender for their birthday.
Just a little bit.
Yes, that is the reason Allie wasn't here.
Yeah, no, I was away with my football team and I drank for 2 days and then ran a sub 45k. So that is the duality of life.
So the new year's treating you well.
Yes.
And it most certainly is as well, because England will be playing Spain in the Euros final. It will be a rematch of the World Cup final 2 years ago. It will be either redemption for England or more proof for Spain, I guess. But
yeah, they said on our commentary that if Spain win this, they will be the holders of the Euros, Nations League, and the World Cup.
Yeah. And
all in one go.
And perhaps then they might leapfrog into first place in the FIFA World Rankings over the US.
Which means that all US fans will be supporting England.
I don't know. I still very clearly remember, and I know I said this on our World Cup finale episode, that I remember being at the final and knowing that there were so many Americans there because they were all supporting Spain, because all I heard was Vamos España.
Oh no.
Oh dear. Yeah, not a good look for us. Anyways, let's get into it, because it is the Euros semifinals that have concluded. The final is on its way. We are here to talk about all things Euros semifinals, both games, England versus Italy, Germany versus Spain, and all of the in-between. But first, in the intro, we like to do some different news topics related to the tournament and whatnot. So we've got a few things to get into. A few of them are pieces of news that are sadly not positive, but they are necessary. But before we do that, Allie was in Wales and has a nice story as it relates to the Euros.
Yeah, I want to just bring a little bit of positivity, which is a rarity for me. I know, maybe I'm getting more mature in my old age. But I was in a very small town in Wales. For anybody who knows Wales, it was Bala in North Wales. And I was with my football team and we walked past this sports shop and they had a signed Euros ball in the window with stickers all about the Euros in there. So we went and talked to the owner and he was so passionate about the Welsh team. He was so proud of the Welsh team and how far they'd come. And he's travels all over for the men, women, unders. He literally said he would just come back from Switzerland and that he was going out to Kazakhstan in a couple of weeks to go watch the men try and qualify for a World Cup. So he is so passionate about it. And just to see that in this little tiny Welsh town, it made me so happy. And this is the growth that we want. This is the Euros boom we want.
This is the growth. Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. I think first off, let's just jump straight into, there's a couple other tournaments happening right now and we don't have the bandwidth to cover them all. There's there's WAFCON and there's the Copa America. And this news piece is about the Copa America. For those of you who don't know, it is of course the tournament in South America. It is put on by CONMEBOL, which is not CONCACAF. CONCACAF is North and Central America. CONMEBOL is South America. So it's the Copa America. And news came out that there had been expectation during this tournament for every team to warm up in confined rooms indoors rather than on the pitch. The indoor warm-up policy was originally implemented as a way of preventing damage to the pitch. However, I guess enough people spoke out about it that they changed the rules partway through the tournament, and now, oh my goodness, thank God, they have 15 minutes on the pitch to warm up as players, the goalkeeper and outfield players. It's just this, honestly, to me, it screamed save the pitch for the men. But it's really disappointing, and shout out to the Brazilian players who have been the ones who I've seen, at least, who have been so outspoken about this, saying how disappointing it has been to, be playing in Copa America, but then look at the TV and see how great the Euros have been and compare that to what they're enduring.
So Marta said, it's been a long time since I played in a tournament here in South America, and we are saddened by these circumstances. We hope that the Federation changes some things and improves the situation. It was mainly Carolyn on Twitter that really was outspoken, because she was watching the Euros and she was like, the difference is astounding.
Yeah, Caroline She tweeted, "I'm watching the Euros today, and man, the difference in structure, audience, investment is surreal. It's downright discouraging. I didn't want to come here and to talk about this, but structure would be the bare minimum for us. There's no way the whole world can evolve, and here it's not even a priority. At least that's the experience I'm having. I hope they review and improve. It's a competition between national teams." Disappointing, to say the least. And I think they hit the nail on the head. We don't need to add any words to that. They said it perfectly. How can they evolve? The rest of the world is evolving, and investment needs to be had in these South American teams. And hey, the World Cup is in Brazil in 2 years. So let's hop to.
Now to our next joyful topic. For anybody who hasn't seen, Jess Carter had to make a statement about how she's stepping away from social media because the abuse that she got over the last couple of games, and of course it's turned racial, because of course it has.
You know, the saddest part is that it's just not even surprising anymore. It's horrific. I don't know how else to say. You know, it's abhorrent. I don't understand how people do this. We obviously stand behind Jess Carter and everything. I'm glad that England has come out and been like, we're going to stop taking a knee because that doesn't seem to be making a difference. Like, no shit, it doesn't. Like, I'm sorry. Was anybody under the impression that, like, taking a knee for 2 seconds before every soccer game was actually making a difference? No, right?
No, exactly. But then, as someone pointed out, though, if they don't take the knee, then they're just doing nothing. There needs to be something.
There needs to be something bigger. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. But our heart goes out to Jess Carter.
No, and obviously you get the outright racist stuff, but I started to see a lot more of like passive aggressive stuff, which is not like overtly racist, like using slurs, but it's things like seeing people are comparing Lauren James to Chloe Kelly. I saw someone tweet saying that Chloe Kelly is the player Lauren James thinks she is, and then you look at like the responses, it's all about how arrogant Lauren James is.
If there's one person who's arrogant between those two players, it's certainly
Right.
Chloe Kelly.
Right. And
the difference is people love
know,
it on Chloe, and they don't want any
exactly.
part of
and
it
that's what
about
I'm saying.
Lauren.
That's what I'm saying. The passive aggressiveness that's coming out.
Yeah. Who, by the way, I don't believe that Lauren James is arrogant at all. I think she's rightfully confident in being one of the best players in the world, in my opinion.
She's silly talented and knows it, and good for her, because she's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we'll come on to it. The final piece, Allie, you wanted to bring, and this is just a quick one, and then we promise everybody we're going to jump right into the games.
It's just a bit of a bugbear of mine that's come up that I'm starting to see from journalists and socials, which, yeah, we haven't seen some of the best quality games in some of these, but that's tournament football. That happens. And I am so tired of going, well, this is not a great advertisement for the women's game. Or that game really is not a great advertisement. I'm sorry, I had to sit through the sludge of England men who managed to fake their way into a final last year. Am I complaining that that's not a good advertisement for men's football? Absolutely not. It's just football. Some great games are great and some games are hard. I'm sick of this whole, it's the Megan Rapinoe thing. We're sick of being inspirational now. We just want to get paid.
Yeah. Amen. We're going to go chronologically here, and we are going to, of course, talk first and foremost, the first semifinal that happened on Tuesday. It was England versus Italy. And some English people were a little too confident in what they thought would happen. At the end of the day, England did win. It was 2-1 England in extra time. Michelle Agamon got let's start from the beginning. It was Barbara Bonacea for Italy who struck first. 33rd minute, Italy goes up 1-0, and Italy was just in the lead. They were up 1-0, and it really did. It came down to the absolute wire, and who else but the savior of the nation herself, quite literally in every single way, because that is, as we've all learned, what her name means. Michelle Agamon in the 96th minute to equalize, and then it was Chloe Kelly off of a rebound, off of a save penalty kick that we'll talk about if it should have been awarded or not. But no matter what, Chloe Kelly has ice in her veins because she put that rebound away, and it was England 2-1 over Italy in extra time. There is so much to discuss here, Allie.
Yeah, there is so much. I mean, first off, I would like to make a comment. I was not one of the cocky ones, having seen how England played. I very much was convinced Italy could beat us and very much thought they were going to. I was sat in a bar with many England fans and we were very stressed.
As you should have been.
So it was a big game. There was over 26,000 people there, 26,539 to be exact. There was 10.2 million people who watched in England, according to the figures on ITV, and more than 4 million people in Italy watched as well, which is huge because the game is really burgeoning and growing in Italy at the moment. So to have 4 million people watch their team in a semi-final is massive.
Yeah, it's a huge moment for women's football in Italy, and we'll come on to that. Let's go team by team. Do you want to talk about the pen first, or do you want to come on to it as we go team by team?
We'll come on to it. We can deal with it later.
All right. Well, let's talk about England, Allie. Where do you want to begin with England?
Oh, the eye rolling that I have.
Maybe, perhaps, the fact that Jess Carter did not get the start here. It was Esme Morgan getting her first start of the tournament. And there's a lot of players that we're going to call out on both teams that have big games, and she absolutely is one of them. She started alongside Leah Williamson in that center back role. I think it's a big move. Serena Wigman is not known for making changes to starting lineups. We all were kind of sitting there wondering, is Jess Carter going to start? You know, she had a really tough game against Sweden. She was exploited. Is she going to start? Is she not? And it was Esme Morgan who got the start, and I thought she did a great job. And I think it was the right decision, to be honest, because Italy, the Italian attack, and I said this on the quarterfinal episode, was the weakness that England demonstrated in the game versus Sweden. So there had to be something different.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I did see someone say, well, the racists have won that she's not starting Carter. But I was like, to be fair, it was the right call, I think.
Yes, we have to be able to distinguish between somebody's on-field performance.
Yeah, I think that Carter didn't have the greatest game. For anybody who listened to our preview of the quarterfinals, I said that that was my fear was going to happen with Carter, and that's what happened. She got cooked a little bit. I think the problem over here in England is that so many English fans don't watch the American League. So when she made the substitution for Morgan over Carter, everybody was remembering Esme Morgan that used to sit on the Man City bench. So they didn't understand why it was Morgan. There was a lot of call for it to be Charles. There was a lot of call for it to be Laetitia. But I'm like, but you should see what Morgan does for Spirit. And this is what I was talking about. This is what I wanted, because she put her body on the line. She tracked back. She was there. Brilliant pairing with Williamson. I think, you know what? Some players take pressure and absolutely run with it. And Morgan was one of them. I think she was probably one of England's best players that night.
Yeah, I mean, other than Michelle Agaman, who, let's just do a moment on this star, because what a star she is.
19. Can I just remind people? 19.
19.
Just trying to think what you were doing when you were 19.
All I wasn't scoring two of the biggest goals in maybe the history of England women's football to advance the team into both the semis and the finals. I mean, we talked about her on the last episode, but you weren't here, so we have to just say what a treat it has been to get to see her. And like you said, some players handle pressure and some don't. And to see the way she handles it, it's fantastic.
Yeah, she's had 4 caps and she scored 3 goals in those 4 caps.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Is that not mental?
Serena Wigman did end up making the substitutions that everybody wanted, but it was very, very late in the game. And I certainly was sitting there thinking to myself, if England lose this game, Serena is absolutely, at least partially, to blame for not making the substitutions earlier. Why did she not make them earlier? I have no idea. It did end up working out, so nobody's going to end up questioning it, but I am questioning why they did not come earlier, because that absolutely could have been what came back and bit her in the butt.
I was going to say, again, with the eye roll, because we were all sat there in the poll going, why is she not making any subs? Mead had to come on because James took a knock to the ankle, and then there was nothing until the 80-odd minute. And we're like, what are you doing? I had the fortune to watch the game with a current player. I won't name them for various reasons, but I had the fortune to watch the game with a current player. And she was like, this is hard because you need momentum. Being thrown on for what could essentially be only 10 minutes does not allow you to build this momentum.
It's so impossible. It's impossible to build momentum in 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was crying out for the subs at like 60, 65 minutes.
We have to talk about how shocking England were, because I mentioned Italy won up in the first half. So well deserved. And I think a lot of people can sit here and say that the worst team won. There was a pundit on.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, well, this is what I want to ask. There was a pundit on Fox Sports, that a German pundit, I will say.
Well, that says a lot.
That straight up said England weren't the deserving team today, but they did win. Whether you agree with that or not, I think we can all agree with the fact that the last two games England have started terribly.
That I will give you.
In the first 45, they have dug themselves into a very, very deep hole. And I think we can all probably also agree that if they do that against Spain, there won't be a coming back. There is no amount of goals that Chloe Kelly or Michelle Agamon can will themselves onto that will be able to dig out of a deficit against Spain like they have been able to do against Italy and Sweden. That's obviously not a disrespect to Italy and Sweden. It is just simply that Spain are a totally different beast. So, I mean, what do you think it is? Why are England like this? They seemed exhausted, first of all. They'd totally just gone to war against Sweden. They seemed mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, but then they're able to pull it out when they have to. This will be a problem against Spain, though.
England only seem to be able to play if they're up against something. And I don't know what it is. But they seem to only want to be able to play if they've got the underdog mentality. They don't like being top dog. It's like they seem to only be able to play so if they've got to make things a little bit harder for themselves.
I'm going to come out and say, and maybe this is a transition into talking about Italy, because there's arguably more to say about the Italian team right now. I frankly thought England just played terribly in the first half. They pretty much played terribly until about minute 70. And when
I disagree.
When the subs started to come on, like that's when it changed.
No, I disagree. 100% disagree.
Really?
First 45 minutes we were dire.
Yeah.
And I will stand by that. We were absolutely dire.
Brutal.
We came out with something in the 45, but the problem we came up against, and we can transition into talking about Italy, was we started to see England getting frustrated, which may look like bad play because it seemed like you breathed on an Italian player and they fell down. You looked at them funny. They fell down. They would pull up for cramp. They would, there was a lot of which England doesn't play well against because Spain does a similar thing. England just like to just play, and that's why they play better against teams like Germany. I mean, Sweden was an anomaly because Sweden are brilliant at that. But you could see that they were getting frustrated with their opponent.
The Italian way to look at this is somebody posted a stat. Fouls committed, 15 fouls committed by England, 3 committed by Italy. Bookings, 0 bookings for England, 3 bookings for Italy. So the Italian way to look at that is to say that England were just fouling all over the place, and they actually got the benefit of the referee.
Well, second of all, that was posted before England picked up 2 yellow cards.
That's true. I think that probably was posted in the end of the first half.
Yeah, I was going to say that was picked up for. And second of all, the ref both annoyed me and played the way I like in the fact that she was allowing things to go on because she just was like wanting to get the game going, but then would blow for absolutely everything at the same. I'm like, pick one.
So you think that England came out better in the second half is what you're saying?
Yeah, England were much better in the second half.
I still think that things only changed when the subs came in, but I mean, agree to disagree. I will say this, and I think this is going to be a good transition into talking about Italy. Cristiana Giarelli, we've talked about quite a bit on this podcast in this tournament, and rightfully so. She wears the captain's armband for Italy. She's had 3 goals in this tournament. She is their predominant goal scorer when you look at how many goals she's had. She didn't score in this game, but she was also unfortunately subbed off because of an injury earlier than she would have wanted to be. She was subbed off in the 64th minute, and listen, how the game would have been different if she was on, like, we don't know. But she adds such an element to the Italian attack that especially, definitely at the end of the game, that element of her stretching the field, the threat of what she could do up top, that was missing. Putting that pressure on England's back line, that was missing. I think that's around this time England started to turn it around and play better as well. And I don't think that that's a coincidence that when Girelli went out, that threat went away and England maybe started to play better because they could press a little bit more higher. But especially in extra time, when your main goal scoring threat, your captain, is hurt on the sideline, I think that was a big blow to Italy. And if she'd still been in the game, I don't know, maybe things would have turned out differently. You never know. But I really do feel for the Italians. Let's talk about them. Can we just talk about the pen already? Let's just talk about the pen. I feel for them for a lot of reasons. A, because they played so well. But B, because... would you rather go down on just straight up penalties back and forth? Or would you rather go down on a penalty that people are debating? Should it have been called? Should it not have been called? I don't know. I think that's the pain of it here, is that it wasn't even that clear cut. Let's just be honest, because 119th minute in the box, Beth Mead goes down. It looks initially like Severini pulled Beth Mead down. Upon everybody going back, watching the video on loop, it does look a little bit like Beth Mead was pulling Severini down with her. We don't have to debate was it not. We can if we want to, because it is interesting. I think that the most...
I have a point I want to talk about.
Go for it.
There's a point I want to talk about. I don't care if we debate whether or not it was a penalty or not. The narrative that I keep seeing, and I've listened to a lot of podcasts, specifically from US national players, I'm just going to say, or former US national players, whose argument was the ref shouldn't have given it regardless of whether it was a penalty or not because of the timing. The fact that it was so close to the end of extra time and it was probably going to go to penalties anyway. Please point to me, Kelly O'Hara and co, where it says in the rule book that a ref is to ignore a penalty decision just because it's 3 minutes to go before the end of extra time. That is stupid. I'm sorry, but I also saw it from Jess Fishler. Everybody who wasn't England was like, oh, the ref should have let it go because of the time. No, if you commit a foul, rightly or wrongly, then you get the consequences.
So I can't disagree with you on that. I will say the commentary here was definitely saying like, oh, you can't give that penalty in this moment because it's so soft. It's so soft. How can you decide a game like that? I think I'm not here. While I do like, that's generally how I go. I'm very much on vibes. Like, oh my God, that's not going to decide the game. I'm not going to debate you on that. Like, a pen's a pen. Jess Fishlock didn't give any reasoning. She just tweeted, it's not a PK. And then she went on to say, you can't take away the depth of the England squad and them executing their roles within the squad at a high level. That I completely, I think Jess Fishlock kind of hit the nail on the head there. But I don't know. There's so many ways to look at this, because there's the way to look at it where if you watch the replay, it does look like Beth Mead dragged Severini down, and it makes it look not just questionable, but like that should never have been called. A lot of people are also saying that they're really sick of the penalty discourse because Severini really doesn't have anyone to blame but herself, because she was still kind of all over Mead late in the game, and Mead has that experience to know that she could make a penalty out of that. My point of view is, where was VAR? Like, what? I'm trying to remember back to the game. I don't remember this going to VAR.
It wouldn't do because it wasn't a clear and obvious error by the ref.
This is why I hate VAR.
They would have
checked
checked it.
I can't stand VAR. This is the moment VAR shines. This is the moment
But
we
it would have
need
been
it.
checked, and they would have agreed with the ref. That's what will have happened.
I don't know that that's right, though, Allie. Have you
I'm
seen
not saying
this?
that that's
Have you
right.
seen this replay?
Yes, of course I have. I've watched it many, many times. But people are asking for VAR. What the VAR is supposed to, when it's a clear and obvious error by the ref, and they will have reviewed it and gone, nah, it's not a clear and obvious error.
This is why I feel like it's the hard way for Italy to go down, because it's so not clear cut and it's so difficult. And then on top of that, Giuliani, the goalkeeper, saved the penalty kick. She saved the penalty kick. Chloe Kelly scored that on the rebound. And that's just an extra dagger right into the heart. It's like twisting the knife for Italy.
So they want to get rid of rebounds next season.
I think that's stupid.
Well, that's the thing, because everybody thinks it's stupid apart from goalkeepers, because I remember seeing Hope Solo message going, this is great, get rid of the rebound, it's stupid, get rid of it. And I was like, of course you think that, Hope Solo. But that's what they want, to get rid of the rebound. Like, you can't score from a rebound from a penalty.
You absolutely should be able to score from a rebound. That's why we fight for position around the penalty box. Like, you still have to defend. It's in the run of play if it gets saved.
Yeah,
Obviously, if you're in
exactly.
like straight up penalty kicks, there shouldn't be rebounds. It's like a one and
No,
done
no, no,
situation.
no, 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 not straight up penalties, but like for a game like this
Yeah.
where you get a penalty in the game. Yeah.
Can you agree that you feel for Italy for this reason? I know you were sick of them
I've
flopping, and I agree that we should keep flopping out of the women's game. And I think that the Italians and the Spaniards are some of the and Colombia are kind of some of the biggest culprits of that, and it does annoy me to watch. But I feel for them.
no, I 100% feel for them. It's like their coach said they were 1 minute away from a final.
Oh my God, their coach. Wait, can we talk about him for a second? Because he literally started walking. Did you see this on the stream, Allie? He started walking down the tunnel. As soon as Chloe Kelly scored that, he started walking down the tunnel to storm off of the field and leave his team alone before full time when that went in.
Mate, that's not good coach behavior, dude. What you doing?
What are you doing, sir? Somebody literally stopped him in the tunnel and forced him to go back.
Good on them. I will say, I thought for 90% of the time, Italy played a great game. They beat England at their own game. They defended extraordinarily well. That goal was something else. Like, no goalkeeper was saving that. It was phenomenal. But I also suggest that y'all can't be complaining about like 7 minutes of extra time when you've been on the floor pulling up cramp. Your goalkeeper should have been sent off because she was time wasting twice. She already got a yellow for it.
Didn't this start with you saying positive things about the Italians?
No,
so how have we
no,
descended into this, Allie?
This is what I'm ending with, is the fact that y'all can't complain when y'all did that, but
Okay.
you should be so proud
Enough
of yourselves.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
No,
keep going
you
there.
should be so proud of yourselves in the fact that you've managed to get to the first semi-final in 25 years. You've really shown why the Italian FA should keep investing in women's football in Italy. It needs to be more than just the big four clubs, but there is big things that are going to happen for this Italian team. No longer will you be the underdogs. No longer will you be the dark horses. You will be true contenders on this European and even world stage. Just control the flopping a little bit.
Giorelli, what a tournament. My goodness. Sofia Cantore, I mean, just incredible. Caruso, oh my goodness. Bonacea, I mean, Linari, you look across the field and it's just outstanding performances, position after position after position, and they've been so fun and so exciting to watch. One of my favorite teams to watch because I know they're not going to sit back. I know that they're going to go right for it. They're going to execute their game plan, and their game plan is to play offensive. And I agree. Shout out to their defense. This is the best I've seen the Italian defense play all tournament, and they did it at the right time. For those of you listening who also enjoyed watching the Italian team, tune into Sara. We cover them in around the world. Almost every player, as we've mentioned already on this podcast, on the Italian squad plays in Italy, so you can watch them. Sofia Cantorte plays in the NWSL. She plays for Washington Spirit, so you can watch her playing for the Spirit next month. And I don't know, maybe we can end on Cristiana Girelli, who spoke after the game. She said, quote, "Reaching the semifinals, being among the top four in Europe is wonderful and special. We know how important it is to bring results back to the new generations. We do it for our own glory, but also for something much deeper, to demonstrate that in Italy you can play football even as a woman." I mean, like, part of my heart breaks that she has to say, like, you can play football even as a woman. And that's unfortunately still a running theme across as we end on, like, Italy and England. It's also part of the discourse in England as well, where young girls still don't get to play soccer in PE class. And Ian Wright's out here being like, well, if this doesn't prove the point, I don't know what does. Like, we're still fighting the fight, everybody. And I'm exhausted, but we're here. And moments like this, hopefully, will bring about change.
Speaking of Ian Wright, make sure you watch his reaction when Ajaman's goal goes in. It is beautiful.
I'm excited. The call on the BBC was fantastic. Did you hear it?
Karen Bardsley.
I don't think it was Karen Bardsley. Well, maybe it wasn't the BBC. Let me find.
Lucy, there's the Seb Hutchinson on the ITV.
It might have been Seb. Wait, this one.
Tonight, Italy. Bronze
Yeah, that's Seb Hutchinson.
Never send it in. Terrific ball. Goalkeeper spills it. That's well done for England.
What a call. What a call, right? I feel like we got to keep that in, man. What a call.
What a absolute like commentary spiel from Seb Hutchinson. He said himself that he was like, I let emotion happen, because what a game. So we raise a glass, we raise a Hunger Games salute to our fallen compatriots, Italy. Godspeed. Now to the other semi-final, and it was Spain versus Germany. And this one, again, these games are going on longer and longer. Teams are getting more and more evenly matched.
This was the first time in Women's Euros history that both semifinals went into overtime. Extra time, as you call it.
Yes, overtime.
That's what we call it here.
So, after extra time,
there you go.
Spain ended up taking it 1-0 with a glorious, who else, Bonmati goal. Like,
I do love that we got extra time in both of these games, but we didn't have to suffer pens. Because I like when I get more football, because I'm usually sad. I feel like 90 minutes went by too fast. I want a little bit more, an extra taste of it. We got that, but we didn't have to suffer pens.
Yeah, especially this tournament.
Yeah. Okay, that Bonmati goal, 113th minute. I mean, world-class goal from a world-class player, period, the end. I think Ann-Katrin Berger is going to be upset with herself because she left that near post open. Bonmati took advantage, slotted it through, and as a goalkeeper, you want to lock down that near post. But, I mean, you can't blame AKB because the only reason Germany are even where they are is because of AKB. So, you know, she's only human. We make mistakes.
Yeah, what a tournament she's had. I want to do something a bit different, and I want to talk about not the victors. I would like to start with Germany.
I like it.
Because there are many things. But, as somebody pointed out, this German team were held together by hope, chewing gum, and AKB. Because they have had injuries. They have had players that are not fit because of cards. Their defence, I saw a great tweet, was the German defence is made up of 2 youngsters, a midfielder, and a player that's one step into retirement. Like, they've
had to put out a different back line every game because of what you just said, because of card accumulations, because of injuries. It is wild. They were saying on our commentary, Julie Braun, she's the only German player in the starting lineup that has scored a goal in this tournament. They have 3 different goal scorers, but she was the only one who was actually in the starting lineup. A yellow card accumulation affected this game. Nuskin was missing this game for Germany. We knew that was going to heavily impact the German side, and it certainly did because she picked up a yellow card in the last game, and due to yellow card accumulation, which I really hate. I hate when big players and key players have to miss games for yellow card accumulation. I think it's really dumb. We know Hendrick was also missing because of her red card, which I totally forgot was in that previous game, and then the good news is they got Carlota Vomser back, who was out last game because of her card, but now she was back. She was the only one who was fresh because she didn't have to play in that previous game against France. Oh, my goodness. We should also note on the Spanish side, Alexandri was missing. Their center back was one of the 2 center backs for Spain was missing, also because of yellow card accumulation. And somehow this game was still 0-0 after 90 minutes, despite both teams missing key defenders.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about this German, because we when we did our previews, we were like, on paper, Germany is scary good.
Yeah.
But they are coming together. They are that perfect mix now of experience and youth, and I can't wait for them to do. So on that front, they've had a slightly rougher tournament than we probably thought. But my goodness, did they play some great football.
They were such a blast to watch. And
so exciting.
Everything that we just said, like how many players have been missing. Mind you, we didn't even mention the fact that, and I believe it was it the second game, the first group game, their captain...
Gwyn went out the first game.
Right, with a knee injury.
Yeah.
This just shows how deep this German bench is. And that's why I had them picked to win the entire tournament, because I mean, if you're going to put up this kind of performance against Spain and you're missing that many players and you're coming off when you quite literally like went to war against France and you played down with 10 players, I want to see a stat that shows me how many minutes did Germany play with 11 players and how many did they play with 10, because I fear it's fairly even.
Yeah.
It's it's impeccable, and I'm not going to lie, I was rooting for Germany because I think that they've been more fun to watch, to be honest. And as a neutral, I'm just rooting for fun. And they've been an absolute blast. I personally love German football, and I love German football. I always have, because I think that they play team football. And that's what this team did. Weirdly enough, I thought their defense was going to be one of the most organized in the tournament. In the group stage, it was not. It was pretty abysmal. And it took them getting down to 10 players to figure out how to organize their defense. But once they did, like, it was locked down against France and it was locked down against Spain.
Yeah, exactly. That goal was just a moment lapse of judgment, because they have been phenomenal in this game. I think they were very, very unlucky to go out when they have, and there's just so many great players. I think Minga had a fantastic game. They're number 6.
She had a great tournament.
Yeah, was absolutely everywhere. Obviously, Bull was the crosses that she was pinging in. She was so couldn't get her teammates quite up there. Brand, there are so many players I could pick out this German squad. It's an exciting time to be a Germany fan, I have to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hoffman, the youngster who got her first start against France, got the start again today against Spain. An incredible game. Like, they've really, I mean we've shouted out AKB, who's the reason they were there, but stunning performances overall. They played a true team game, a true team football, and I think if it would have gone to pens, it could have been we can't argue. Germany had their moments. They had their chances, and they just couldn't put it away. And listen, both of these semifinals featured teams that had only played 90 minutes and were fresh against teams that had basically gone to battle and were hurting. So I don't know. If Germany hadn't gone to battle, perhaps they would have had it in the tank. They just didn't. But a huge round of applause for this squad. Just incredible. I will say, a really fun fact, Anne-Katrin Berger, after the France game, dedicated it to her grandpa, and then her grandpa showed up at this game to watch. And there's video of her old, cute grandpa, walking into the stadium to watch her play.
Yeah, because he said to her he'd only come to a final.
Oh.
And so he surprised her at the semi-final.
That's really cute. That's really cute. Sophia Kleinhorn also stepped into the center back role for Germany. I thought she did a fantastic job. She got hurt in extra time, I believe it was, really, really late on. I think that did impact Germany at the end of the day. But like we said, just a round of applause. A shout out to this team. Yeah, it looks real good for 2027. Let's just say that.
I was going to say, anyone that can hold Spain off for so long.
Yeah.
Fair play to you.
All right, let's talk about the Spaniards. Let's talk about the victors, Allie.
You're going to call me a negative Nancy again, or a Debbie Downer, but I'm not convinced by Spain this tournament.
I'm not either.
I still think they're probably going to beat England.
I do too.
But I'm not convinced by them at all.
Tell me why, because I'll tell you why I'm not.
So defensively, they are really, really disjointed and discombobulated. I think Honor Battier is probably the only one that was constantly tracking back. The others were getting mixed up with each other, and they're just lucky that Germany couldn't shoot today, to be honest, because Coy didn't have to really make a save until towards the end. In fact, a friend of mine had a bet, was like, why is the Spanish keeper not making saves? I'm gonna lose my accumulator because
Kata Koi's
she's not making saves.
had an easy job. She's gotten to just kind of punch in until now. And we've said this up until now. Spain hadn't been tested in this tournament. This was really their first. I mean, I guess they were tested by Italy in the group stage, but you look at the group that France and England were in, and it's a massive difference. You look at the group.
This was the highest ranked team that they faced all tournament.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, Kata Koi, credit to her, she did her best Anne-Katrin Berger impression, pulling that ball back from in the net.
Yeah, and that was like the first thing she had to do. Our commentators were like, Koi hasn't had to do anything for months.
I feel like I'm not convinced by Spain simply because it's actually the opposite. Like I've been saying this whole tournament that their defense is their weak spot, and it certainly, I think it is. But we saw them come up against an organized defense for the first time in this tournament as well. Like, credit to Italy, they're great, but in the group stages, they didn't play a super organized defensive line. They were better on the attacking side. And now seeing Spain coming up against a really defensive side, I mean, yeah, they also couldn't find the back of the net. A little unconvincing. This is the moment in
Yes.
tournaments where coaching really matters. And Spain don't have that. They just simply don't. And I do feel for them for that reason, because they don't have a coach that's going to help them break down the opposing side. They're kind of left to figure it all out. And figure it out they did. If it comes down to, a moment of brilliance by a brilliant player, Spain certainly have that advantage pretty much over any other team in the world, because they've got brilliant players everywhere. But yeah, I'm not entirely convinced. I can't say I'm super convinced about their defense. And after this game, I'm not convinced that against a really organized back line, they can find at the back of the net. The good news, as we are soon to move into previewing the final, is that England don't have a very organized defensive back line.
I mean, slightly accurate, but rude.
Accurate, but rude. I mean, anything else on this game, Allie?
You know what? It was interesting, obviously, because knowing that this is who England have to play next, it was interesting to see the different foibles of each team. I mean, they'll probably turn it up because it's a final and it's Spain, but Spain towards the end didn't look as scary as I thought they would be.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, this is a team that has, I think, now 10 different goal scorers across the entire tournament, and that's pretty scary if you have that many players. It might be 9, but no matter. If you have that many players that can score, that's pretty terrifying. Wait, we have to give Germany the send-off they deserve. I do wish we had a third-place game, but I think I saw some of the German players smiling after this game, and I'm like, they might not have had another 90 minutes in them.
They want to go to sleep. They want to sleep.
You truly left it all out there, Germany, and we thank you for it.
So, the time has come. The final is this Sunday, which means we have to do dun predictions of how we think this is going to go.
Well, it's either going to be a repeat of the Euros final from 22 or a repeat of the World Cup. I'm not going to lie, I was rooting for a repeat of the Euros final. I'm not going to lie, like, I really didn't care when this happened in the World Cup, and I also don't super care when it's happening now. And I think that's how, once again, just like 2 years ago, everybody in the world was like, oh, damn it. Like, I don't care.
Rude.
Other than England and Spain, everybody was like, oh, God. Ugh, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking about what I don't know in terms of what I want to happen. What do I think is going to happen? I think Spain are going to beat England. It's a tough game to play. I think Beth Mead has said this. I think she pointed to Spain, Germany, and the U.S. She was like, those are probably the hardest teams to play. But she was like, Spain is grueling because you don't have the ball. And that's not fun. And spot on. Like, it's brutal to defend. Spain are going to, at the least, probably have 70% of possession. At least. That's a scary prospect. And especially for an English team that hasn't been the best on defense across the board, like organizationally, a lot of those goals were just a lack of organization, a lack of communication, or a lack of ability to clear the ball when it needs to be cleared. I think Spain will capitalize on that. So I'm going to go Spain. I know England want, they're like, we owe Spain one, but I don't think it's the moment. I think you've run your tank real dry, and I think it's, time to pay the piper.
My head says Spain. My heart says England.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be 2-1 regardless.
Ooh, overtime or no? Extra time or no?
Potentially extra time, because it took us to extra time to win against the Germans.
Extra time favors Spain for sure.
Yeah. So I do think it's going to be 2-1 regardless, because I think both teams have goals in them. So yeah, that's what I'm going with. That's my score prediction, and I'm like, my head says Spain, my heart says England.
Go with your heart.
Yeah.
Go with your heart.
I think we could do it, genuinely. Like, Spain have looked beatable this tournament.
If England are to win, it's going to have to be in regulation. I don't see England winning if it goes to extra time, just from a pure exhaustion standpoint, physical and mental. I don't see it happening. If they are going to win, it's going to have to be in the first 90 minutes.
So hear that, Serena. Make your subs much earlier.
Make your subs, Serena. Okay, well, that's it. Sad, Allie. There's only one more game.
I know. We always get like this at a tournament because you build it up for so long and then it goes so quickly.
It goes so quickly, especially the Euros, because there's not even a round of 16. You go right to the quarters. All right. That game is on Sunday. It is at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. in the UK. We are going to be recording an episode that day right after the game, allotting for time for Allie to get home from the bar.
I was going to say, I'm either going to be drunk and happy, drunk and sad, drunk
but always professional.
But always professional.
And then that episode, the final episode, will drop the following day on Monday. And as ever, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Drop your comments below about how you feel and what you think about this episode and our coverage. We're always open to feedback, especially positive feedback. And a reminder to head over to our Patreon and check out the extra content we've got for you, patreon.com/TheWoso Show. And that's it for us here. I have been Sarah.
And I've been Allie.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night.